Okay, so a bit early, but let's get cracking firmly into the graveyard shift. So thanks for staying. Welcome to the Content Theatre. I'm Cliff Hill from Ectron. We're here sponsoring the Content Theatre today. We provide a web content management and customer experience platform. So please come and hear all about that at the back. So it's my pleasure to introduce Alexia Leachman, by far the best description of herself that I've had today. She's a personal brand guardian to business rock stars and also the founder of Head Trash. So she's going to talk today how to be a hashtag PORM star, and I'll let her explain what that's all about.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for coming here today. Who enjoys managing their online reputation here? Hands up. You do. Brilliant. Well, I hope I'm going to help make it a bit more fun for you, because a lot of people don't, and it should be more fun, because this is you in the online space. So, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is Alexia L, and there's a hashtag for this talk. I have been putting some tweets in with some bite-sized tweetables from my talk as we speak. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, then some of the notes from this talk and some of the stats I'll be sharing will be coming out on my Twitter account. So if you want to follow me there, you can. So why do we need to rock at being a PORM star? Anybody? Anybody? No? Well, basically we do everything online. We eat, we do our shopping, we date, we connect, we work, we basically live online. And a lot of the time people are going to meet you for the first time in the online space. And that some people who might never ever even meet them face to face, you might just work with them in that online space, and that's how they're going to connect with you, and that is how they're going to make a decision to work with you. So why might somebody check you out online? Well, there's quite a few reasons why they might do that. And here's just a list of them. Quite a lot. They've met you. They've heard about you. They've spoken to you. They've read about you. They've read your tweet, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your blog comment. They've seen anything that you may have commented online, and that is going to make them want to check you out, because they want to know a little bit more about that person. Because basically, we're nosy, and we want to know who we're dealing with. We want to know more about that person. But what do you think happens if they don't find anything? Okay? Now, just a couple of stats here. I have tweeted the results, the full research out for this. But if you're somebody who has a job and you're looking for work, then 82% of employers look up their candidates on social media. And 88% of that is on LinkedIn. Now, the more scary stat is that 64% are actually going to reject a job application based on what they find online. So if you're not managing your online reputation, if you're not taking care to make sure that you look good online, then that could be costing you significantly. And the same will also stand for people who are freelancers, people who are trying to earn their money in the current climate where they've left their work, they've been made redundant, and now they're generating their own personal income by freelancing, by being part of a project team. If what people find online doesn't stack up, doesn't reinforce what you're saying about yourself, doesn't give people confidence and the trust in what you do, then they will not want to take that further with you. Okay? So, what does Google say about you? When was the last time that you Googled yourself? In the last week? Anyone? We have a PORM star in our midst already. Anyone else who's Googled themselves in the last week? What about the last month? Yeah? Were you happy with what you found? Terrific. A lot of people don't Google themselves enough, because you do need to find out what Google says about you, because that's what other people are finding about you when they Google you, okay? So your online presence needs to reflect, support and enhance your worldly presence. And what do I mean by worldly presence? I mean you and me here. If we can both smell the coffee I'm drinking, that means we're engaging, we're talking in the real world, okay? But most of the time you're connecting with people in a place where you can't both smell the same cup of coffee. So you need to make sure that when people check you out in the online space, that backs up, so it reflects, it supports, and it enhances you in your real worldly way. Now, for example, think about your LinkedIn profile and the photo that people might put on their LinkedIn profile. I shudder sometimes when I see the photos that people have on their LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile is like you going to a networking event, and sometimes I look at those pictures and think, You might as well just go to your networking event in your pajamas, and you would never do that, would you? You have to make sure that what you're doing, how you put yourself out online can replace you in the real world, that you are effectively happy to put your online profile instead of you and enable it to win business, get people to buy into you on your behalf. Does that make sense? Yeah, are we all awake still? I know it's a graveyard shift, are you all still with me? Because if it doesn't back up, then you are going to lose trust, and trust is the currency of today. We have lost trust in the big institutions, the financial institutions, now it's the insurance companies, the energy institutions, everything is losing trust right now, and all you have, people want to engage with people, they want to have that one-to-one connection. And so if what they find online doesn't add up, something jars with them and they lose that trust. So it's really important for you to ensure that you're reinforcing and enabling them and enabling a trust-based relationship, because it's on that people will do business with you and hire you. So what's reputation anyway? Well, we're talking about online reputation management. What the hell is an online reputation? Well, let's go back to reputation. So I've got a quote I'm going to share with you from a guy called Abe Lincoln, which you may have heard of. And back in the day, before we were all online, he said that character is like a tree and reputation is like its shadow. The shadow is what we think of it, the tree is the real thing. Well, let me just update this for the 21st century and put personal brand in there instead, because right now, personal brand is the real thing, and reputation is what people think of your personal brand. Because right now, when we're putting ourselves out there, the way that we speak, the way that we describe what we do, the way that we describe ourselves online, all that makes up our personal brand. The way that we show up, the way that we hold ourselves, all that makes up our personal brand. And so that is at the core of your reputation, it's your personal brand. And your reputation is what everybody else thinks of your brand. And what everybody else thinks of your brand is actually based on everything that you say and everything that you do. Sure enough, if you can afford to have a PR agency to do your own personal PR, then you can start putting information out there to start managing that reputation. But ultimately, your personal reputation is based on everything that you do and everything that you say. And sure, that might get misinterpreted along the line, but ultimately it comes from you, and that is why your personal brand is at the core of your reputation. So how does that change if it's online instead? You know, what's an online reputation versus a real life, a worldly reputation, if you will? Well, the main difference is that you get to create all the content. Anything that happens online, you put it there. The only person that cares about how you appear online is you. Nobody else will care more about that anywhere in the world other than you. Now, sure, you might be somebody like a huge celebrity or somebody that's done some really nasty stuff and you've got lots of enemies out there, maybe somebody like Michael Leary of Ryanair, who's got a whole website dedicated to people that hate Ryanair, but in the most part, you are going to be the only one that cares the most about your online reputation. And so you have a great opportunity here to create positive content. So all that stuff that people are going to find online, you can put it there, which means that you are in the driving seat, you are the one in total control. And that means you can build a really strong, positive online reputation for yourself by starting to manage it and actively be in charge of it. Does that make sense? Yeah? So you are in complete control of your online reputation because you create the content. So it's up to you to create positive content on a regular basis that means that that is what's found when people are Googling you. If you've got negative content that's appearing online because of some thing that's happened in the past, then all you need to start doing is regularly creating positive online content. Because soon enough, recent, regular content from high traffic sites will start to push the negative content down the rankings, and nobody really sticks around beyond page 3 in terms of checking you out online. Okay? So, I'm going to share with you 10 ways to rock at being a PORM star. And when I say PORM star, I mean a personal online reputation management star. Somebody that really is able to manage their online reputation to make it rock and work for them. There may be a few little skirting close to the issues in terms of PORM, but I want to have a little bit of fun with this, so I hope you'll forgive me. So get a PORM name. So you need a name that means that people can find you easily and quickly and recognize you online. And that needs to be paired up with a strong visual identity as well. So you need a strong avatar and an ID that together make up your online brand presence. So I've got 2 examples of people that I think rock at being a PORM star. I'm just going to share with you now so that you can see what good looks like, what some people that are really working it, what that looks like. So first of all, this is a guy called Documentally, and you can find him on Twitter at Documentally. And here you can see he's got a really strong avatar that he uses throughout his work. You can find him on that name everywhere, and this guy is a digital storyteller. And Documentally sounds a bit like documentary. So he's using what he does, the very core of what he does, at the core of his name, and that avatar hasn't changed for about 4 or 5 years. That's his logo. If you're thinking about brand, personal brand, that's his logo and his brand name, and everybody knows him by Documentally. And you can find out where he looks like that on every single place that you discover him online, whether that's Flickr, YouTube, Instagram, Audioboo, that's where you're going to find him. So if you're into this guy and you like following him, you can find him really easily and really quickly by searching in that way, and you will quickly and easily recognize him wherever you are. But he's got quite a phenomenal following because of the work that he does. And it's his own business. So when you have your own business, it's in your interest to make sure that you are really working it online. But I'm just going to share with you somebody who's somebody that's just got a job, that's just an employee, that maybe doesn't have the need to maybe work the online presence in the same way. This is somebody called Stephanie Bennett, and she uses Steph's Bubble. So, you know, for those of you who've got a name that might be very difficult to get a name that's consistent across all the platforms, this is a really lovely way of doing it. You know, she's come up with the idea of, I live in my bubble, my Steph's bubble, and this is my world, come into my bubble. And that's what she's using, by using that concept everywhere. Notice the consistency, notice the name, notice the same avatar in terms of the imagery that she's using everywhere. And she's able to build a really strong presence online. People can find her very easily. It's reasonably memorable. Whenever you catch her pictures on Instagram, she's always taking photos of bubble-esque images, and it reinforces that all the time. So today she was tweeting an Instagram shot of that great bubble in Piccadilly and saying, this is one of the biggest bubbles I've ever seen. And so she's constantly reinforcing who she is, what she's about in the online space. And so while she doesn't have huge amounts of followers, she's doing it in a really memorable way. So what you want to be doing is making it easy for people to find you, to connect with you, and to remember you online, so that when they're talking about you, they find you. Now, I don't know if any of you are following or follow John Lewis Retail, which is the Twitter handle for John Lewis store. Well, there's a guy called John Lewis, and he's constantly getting sent messages that are destined for John Lewis Retail. And bless him, he must get his account absolutely bombarded with comments about the Christmas ad right now. And so people will automatically, the reason I'm sharing that with you, the reason for that is that people will start basically they'll assume your Twitter handle, they'll assume what your name is on these various social networks, because they haven't got time to check. So make it easy so that if somebody maybe is slagging you off, that then you make sure that you know about it. Because if anybody's whinging about what you've done, you want to make sure that you're keeping tabs on that, okay? Make the most of your assets. Now, what I mean by this is we've all got different assets and strengths that we need to play to, and you need to be aware of what your strengths are and work them. When you have a brand, a great brand in the commercial environment builds on its strengths, and as an individual and personal brand, you need to build on your strengths too. But you can't do that if you don't know what they are. But in online, what works? What's a strength online? Well, online, a strength might be the number of followers you have. It might be how many people subscribe to your blog. It might be how many people leave comments on your blog. It might be how many people like your Facebook page. So different elements of those stats are going to be, you might have really crap Facebook likes, but you have loads of people leaving blog comments. So on your own personal website, make a big deal of the fact that people are leaving blog comments and showcase that as being your online strength. There's going to be different ways of really shouting about the great stuff that you've got, and make sure you know what that is, and that's what you're talking about, to really build a strong online presence. Now, the other thing is you want to get sticky when you're online. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, it's all about the conversation. Online, as I'm sure you've picked up today, is all about having an engaging conversation. It's all about taking part in the conversation. The brand building a brand now is about the conversation. It's no longer a broadcast mentality where you're selling and pitching constantly. It's about taking part in a conversation, starting a conversation, and being part of it. And so that means that you can't just listen and observe, you actually have to take part. If you're in a networking event where you're standing around, at, let's say here, and you're watching people speaking, they'll know that you're there just when you're listening because they can see you. But they're not going to know you're there if you're listening online because it's invisible. The only way that you can make your presence known is by taking part, by leaving a comment, by joining in on that Twitter conversation, by putting down your thoughts as part of a LinkedIn conversational feed, because then they know that you're there. If you're just reading it and consuming it, nobody knows that you're there and you might as well not be there. So if you want to build that presence, you need to really put yourself out there. Now the other thing is go where the action is. So if you know where the people that you want to engage with are, go there. But do you know who you want to engage with? Do you know where they live and hang out online? There's no point spending a lot of time in a certain social network if all the people that you want to be engaging with are elsewhere. So you need to know where the people are that you want to be engaging with and find them there. Because you haven't got a lot of time. We're all incredibly time pressured, and we want to make sure that we're using our time wisely. We want to be productive. We want to get the most bang for our buck when we're spending our time online. So know who your audience is, know where they hang out online, and that's where you want to be hanging out too, and making a noise and making yourself known. Okay. Stay on top. So what do I mean by stay on top? Well, you need to stay on top of what's happening with you online. So set up some Google alerts to make sure that you know when your name is mentioned, or you know when, if you're a subject matter expert in a certain area, then follow what's going on in your area. So you're staying on top of what's going on that's relevant to you, that you want to become known in terms of being a thought leader, then you want to be following that and making sure that you're getting alerts into your inbox so that you can stay on top of what's happening. But importantly, staying on top of where your name might be getting mentioned online so that you can respond accordingly if you need to. There's nothing worse than having a mention. Maybe somebody's mentioned your name by accident, they mean somebody else, but you want to be there first to make sure that either you nip it in the bud, you respond to it, or if it's a positive comment, that you're engaging in a timely manner in that conversation and not letting it fall to the wayside and missing an opportunity to create a positive impression with somebody. But you also, in Googling yourself, I found this and I couldn't resist it because it's slightly PORM-esque. But yes, regularly Google yourself as well to find out what's going on. But also you want to go deep. So you want to find out what's on the deep web. And that Google doesn't search the deep web. And so what you need to use the deep web is Pipple, which I've got here. Again, I've been sending a link out for that on my Twitter account, so you can find the link there. But the deep web searches all the documents that may come out of the court system. It searches lots of council tax applications, all that kind of stuff. And you will terrify yourself when you Google yourself in this deep search area, because you will not believe the amount of information about you is online when you search at Pipple. But the thing is, you need to know, because maybe you need to change it, get it deleted, or do something with it, because somebody else who might have a bee in their bonnet about you, they might know that, so you need to know about it and be on top of that as well. At the moment, I'm working with a very sort of wealthy, successful entrepreneur, and he was a witness in a court case about porn 10 years ago, and the guy got sent down, and there's a lot of court papers that are circulating the web, and every time somebody Googles his name, the first thing that comes up is a porn case. So if somebody can't be bothered to read why he was there, because he was a witness that actually got him put down, people aren't going to have the time to read through that. They're just going to think, oh, he's involved in porn. That's not a good look, is it? So one of the things he only became aware as a result of searching for that here, and some people are trying to ruin his name because of the success some of the competitors he's got in business. So this is really worth checking out, how you appear on the deep web. Know what you want. You've got to be really strategic about when you're online, because you can spend a hell of a lot of time doing stuff that isn't going to make a difference. So be really clear about what you want, why you're doing it, what you want to be known for, and spend time in a strategic way. Because life's too short for you to be wasting time setting up a blog that you change your mind about 6 months down the line, once you've spent time building it up, getting the navigation, writing your copy, blogging for a bit, and then thinking, oh, actually, I'm going to do something else. You really got to think about that from the outset. What's the strategic view? What do you want to build? What's the name that you want to build for yourself in the online space? Because deleting stuff online is not easy. Once you've got all that stuff out there, you can't just pull it down really quickly. It can cost you money if you want to get it deleted properly. So you want to keep it up. Once you start, this ties into the last one. Once you start building an online reputation, you start taking part in these online networks, and you start a blog, and you start whatever it is that you're doing, you've got to keep doing it. There's nothing that's more disheartening for anybody else than checking out your blog and realizing that the last blog you wrote was in 2009, and even then you did it 3 times. You've got to be consistent. So again, when you're thinking about the strategic view, what you're doing, how you're going to build your online presence, think about your strengths. Am I good at writing? Do I like writing? Should I be blogging at all? I recently made the decision to stop blogging and start podcasting because I like talking. And that was much quicker for me to record myself speaking for 20 minutes and putting that as a podcast than writing a blog that might take me 3 hours. And that's actually done wonders for my business, my head trash business, because it's given me it's repositioned me in my marketplace. So think about what you're good at, think about what you enjoy doing and what you think you'll be able to maintain and do consistently, because that is going to help you to look good online and help people to find you, to know more about what you do and to connect with you and discover you, because that's what you're going to want. Okay. Get your story straight. Now, one thing is your bio, your about page, your LinkedIn summary, whatever you want to call that. When people are checking you out, they're going to look at your Twitter bio, they're going to look at your LinkedIn summary, they're going to read your about page on your website. The most read page on any website is the About Us page. People want to know who you are. If you have a business, they want to know the people in the business. They want to know, essentially, who you are. So tell them who you are, but get that right. Make it sound interesting. Get some great narrative in there. Don't list all your qualifications. Don't bore them with the dull stuff. If you're an accountant, don't tell them about all your accountancy qualifications, because every other accountant has got accountancy qualifications. What they want to know is, what's the interesting stuff? Why should I work with you as an accountant than anybody else? What are the personal things that I want to know about you? Because I'm going to connect with you if I know that you love Rioja and dark chocolate, because hey, I do too. That's the kind of stuff that people will connect with you with, and that's why they might want to do business with you, because at the end of the day, when you've had a good business meeting, you never know, you might go off for a glass of wine, or you might sit and chat, and that's where the real relationships are built. So give people something human to connect to in your about page, in your bio, in your Twitter bio. So your bio is the hook that makes people want to find out more about you. Get it right. Don't be a dick. This is pretty obvious, really, but it's amazing how many people are really, really unpleasant online. So some of these stuff you might discover and see in others. Argumentative, rude, whinging, angry, people always venting frustrations, using lots of exclamation marks, using lots of capital letters, people wanting to have the last word, this kind of going back and forth on Twitter. All that is incredibly unpleasant and shows to other people that they just think, hey, who's this person? What's wrong with them? Have they got a bee in their bonnet? And it just doesn't look good. I was recently part of a LinkedIn conversational thread whereby somebody, a contact of his on LinkedIn said, hey, one of my contacts has just said that he thinks I'm really angry based on my LinkedIn updates. But I'm not angry. Do you think I'm angry? And that kicked off a very, very big debate. And actually, yes, you can look angry. Angry isn't only shouting and waving your hands in the air and swearing. It comes across sarcastic, critical, judgmental, impatient, argumentative. That's anger seeping in. And that stuff, and I'm sorry I have to mention it, but my business head trash, that's head trash that's not been cleared. What you want to do is clear your head trash so that you can be the real, nicer, calmer, stress-free person that shows up every time, the person that people want to know, the person that people want to spend time with, the person that people will respect and want to connect with. If you show up as an angry, whinging individual, then they're not going to want to really hang around with you because, hey, that's not nice. So don't be that person. Find out what you need to do to be the nice version of you and show that version to the world, because that's going to get you much further. don't fake it. Now, when you think about your online profile, some people, when I've met them, you know, I've got some great Twitter friends that I only know them through their Twitter handle, and one of them's called Mwah Mwah Mwah, which I still don't know what his name is because he's chosen such a crazy Twitter handle. But, you know, you get to know them online, you get to know them with what their conversation on Twitter. And then you meet them in the real life and they're just nothing like that. Has that anybody happened? Does anybody know what I mean? Yeah? Oh. So you've got to make sure that you are the same person online as offline, that people get the same version of you whether they're in person or whether they see you online. So you've got to make sure that that is a true reflection of you, because again, if when they meet you, that you're not like how you sound online, then again, you're going to be affecting that ability to build trust and strong relationships that's going to be good for you, your business, your ability to earn money and therefore survive in the online connected world. So don't be fake. Don't say a lot of stuff that's not true. Be real. Be the real you. Don't be afraid of being the real you. If you've got strong opinions on something, share them in a respectful way. You know, because that's what people want to know. You know, in terms of the branding world, when a strong brand alienates people, it's a very polarizing thing, a strong brand. You think about Marmite, you love it or you hate it. So you've got to be very true to who you are, because some people will love you and some people will hate you. And you know what? The quicker you can find out those people that hate you, the better, because then you just get them out of the way and you can connect with those that love you, that resonate with you, that want to hang out in your tribe and be somebody that you can connect with and enjoy working with. And there's no point being bland, no point being somebody that everybody half likes, because there's no passion there, there's no engagement. Be real, be you, and be nice. So that's a real important element of having a strong online reputation. And finally, just want to leave you with this thought, is you can't build an online reputation on what you're going to do. This is Henry Ford that said it. You can be all talk, but you've just got to get on with it and do it. And sometimes you just have to jump in feet first and start building that online reputation and not hide. Some of the things that I've benefited from really just jumping in and not necessarily getting it right first time, but if you just get on with it and do it, as a result of my online presence, I've managed to get a book published, I've managed to get on television, and I've managed to land some really incredible clients that I've never ever met, because they've based their decision making on everything they found about me online. And so, but if I'd worried about doing any of that, if I'd worried about, oh, it might not look right, it might not work, then I wouldn't have had the learnings that would enable me to create an online presence that would have brought me those things. So I would encourage you to just get on with it and do it. Thank you. Any questions?